What's going on, guys? JPP Duel here. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. And for today's matchup, we have an Adventures Pranks versus an Adventure Sky Striker with me as the prankster going first. Now, I absolutely hate this game. This was my promo match for Platinum 2. I completely bricked. The best I could have done was put a token on the field and hope that the token allows me to push past my opponent's turn. Not even push past, allows me to last past my opponent's turn. Sadly, my opponent activates Max C, so that thing just goes down to the scrap. Now, let me give you an advice right here. Try to chain link your Max C when your opponent is trying to special out a monster on the field, or using a card to special out a monster on the field. That way, you will guarantee get one card draw. Now, granted, the value of Max C lies in the fact that if your opponent is playing a combo deck, it completely kills off their combo. They cannot go into their combo unless they're playing an FTK deck, in which case they might go into their combo. But the one extra card draw could be a difference between a God hand or a Thrash hand. Or it could draw into a combo starter card, it could draw you into an extender, which would allow you to kill your opponent on your next turn. So keep that in mind when you're activating your Max Cs. Now, right here, I am just going to pass my turn once this thing resolves. This could be construed as a misplay, because I could have gone into my Enchantress and got the right into my hand for my next turn. But I did not do that because I was trying to play around Ghost Ogre. Granted, my opponent could have Ghost Ogred me in the beginning, but I was thinking if I activated it right now, maybe he would Ghost Ogre me, take away my Faithful Adventure, and if my opponent cannot kill me on his turn, I was thinking this card can be a threat on the field and probably could bait out a negate from my opponent. So I did not activate it this turn, just let it pass. As I said, this could be considered as a misplay, but I had the Ghost Ogre in my mind, so I did not activate it. Opponent's turn, draw phase. He has the full Adventures engine with the Foolish Burial. So my opponent is going to do just that. He's going to go into his token, then going to go into his Griffin. That means I cannot nib my opponent anymore. I was hoping to nib my opponent because that was the only play I had in my hand. At this point, can't nib him. And once he discards the Hornet Drones, I know my opponent is playing Sky Strikers. Goes into the Hayate. After normaling out the Ray, goes into battle phase. Now, right here, my opponent misplayed. He could have kept the Ray on the field and then used the Ray's active effect during battle phase to hit me in the face for 1.5k more damage. I would be down to 1000 life points if he had done that. So my opponent kind of misplayed right here. That's on him. I cannot do much about that. The Hayate activates, sending a card to the graveyard, goes into Kagari. Kagari will add the engage from the graveyard into my opponent's hand. Right here, I choose to nib my opponent. Why? Because I know my opponent will try to end his turn after going into Shizuku, and I would rather not have the Omni hanging over my head when I go into my turn. So I have to get rid of the Omni through my nib, even though the nib gets negated. I do not care about it. My opponent goes into Zeke, then he activates the engage, searches for a Widow's Anchor, and draws a card since he has 3 or more spell cards in his graveyard. Then at the end goes into Shizuku, sets down 2 cards, ends his turn, which prompts Shizuku to add a card after searching it, which was the Afterburners. Now right here, I drew into my combo starter card, thankfully. Such a huge draw for us. And I had the Harpy's Feather Duster in my hand as well. So that way, I do not have to be worried about my opponent's back row. I could instantly get rid of it. I did not die, my opponent could not kill me that turn itself, really good for me. So first of all, I Harpy's Feather Duster, wipe my opponent's back row completely, because the card in the middle column set I was thinking could be imperm because of the way he set the card. If you ever see your opponent setting a card in the face-up column of a card you have that you can activate, or maybe it's a face-down card that you really need, if they set it in the same column as that, assume that it's probably an impermanence. Your opponent wants to imperm you once you put an effect monster on the field. So Harpy's Feather Duster gets rid of all of that. Now I try to bait up my opponent's negates if he has any. We activate the Faithful Adventure, get the Enchantress. I'm going to throw the Enchantress away as well. Then activate it, searching for the right, which baits out a Ghost Bell. Really good for me because my cards when the tribute can be negated through Ghost Bell. Now we go into our actual combo. Normal out my drop C, start doing my combo. Right here my opponent is only left with 2 cards in his hand. I know one of those cards is an Afterburner. I don't know what the other card is. But I'm thinking, even if my opponent has a nib, I do not care about it because I have Thunder Dragon Fusion in my hand. Even if my opponent nibs me, I could have just used my Thunder Dragon Fusion, went into my Butler anyways, and killed my opponent. Not kill him, but like wipe out my opponent's field afterwards. So I'm going into my combo, and right here I decide whether I want to go into a full combo or not. Full combo being you going through your 2 doodle-doos over 1. I decide to do it. I decide to not use the Draco back on my token, which you can do by the way. Your token with the pranks is a non-effect monster to bounce the Shizuku. That would have prompted the Ray from the graveyard coming on the field. I wanted to wait until I get my Butler for him to get the prompt, so I did not bounce it. I just keep going with my combo. I used the Draco back as the banish fodder in my hand. I was searching for a combo extension, this was really good. I drew into a Fusion Destiny. This means I will be having my DPE on the field as well. Now right here, again a slight error on my part. The reason for this being I'm extremely used to leaving the link spot open under Prank Kid's link monsters, so I ended up summoning my Butler on the left of the link monster. I should have summoned the Butler right under the Bow Wow Bark. That way my Butler would have been boosted up by 1000 attack. So like it's a habit for me to not use the spot under the link monsters, which was really bad in this regard, but we keep going. It happens sometimes. So then I go into my DPE with the Fusion Destiny and right away go into battle phase. Use my Bow Wow to kill off the Shizuku, which prompts the Ray to come on the field. And I instantly activate my DPE in response to that card getting on the field. Keep in mind, if you ever see the Ray getting special on the field during battle phase, always, and you have DPE on the field, always chain link 1 your DPE. Never allow your opponent to chain link 1 their Ray. This way, whatever Ray puts on the field, you could just destroy it without them being able to activate that card's effect. If you chain link 2 DPE, they will be able to activate that card effect. I'm not too sure. Will they be able to activate that card effects? But still, always chain link 1 your DPE in that regard. I know at this point my opponent's trying to put a Kaina on the field. Kaina will negate the attack of 1 monster on the field. And since I had chain link 1 DPE, I could just pop my opponent's Kaina right here, right now. So Kaina will not be able to activate its effect. I hit my opponent in the face for 3k with my Butler, end my turn, activate Pranks, recycle 3, draw into a Prank Kid's place. Pretty nice draw for my next turn. So right here, I try to activate my Bow Wow Bark on my opponent's draw phase. Again, gets Ghost Belled. So that's second Ghost Bell my opponent threw at me. Now this means my cards, my Prank Kid's monster cards on the field are not immune to destruction through card effects. So Afterburner obviously destroys my Butler plus my Pandemonium, and I use the Butler's floating effect to put the Bow Wow Bark on the field. Now keep in mind, Bow Wow Bark is a hard once per turn. It was negated using Ghost Bell, so I cannot activate Bow Wow Bark again this turn. My opponent uses his card search to search for a Fusion Destiny. I mean, he flips over a Fusion Destiny with the Pot of P, I believe. Yep, Pot of P, banish 3, flipped over Fusion Destiny. Good for him. Uses it to go into his own DPE, kills off my Bow Wow Bark during battle phase. Now, generally with the DPE, it's a chicken game. Who activates their DPE first? Whoever activates their DPE first loses the DPE chicken game. So you want to activate DPE as chain link 2 in response to your opponent activating their DPE. That way, you do not have to pop a card on your side aside from your own DPE. And your opponent, if they have no cards on the field aside from DPE, cannot get their pop off. So I use my DPE, pop my opponent's DPE, we both get our graveyard activations on, and that's the end of my opponent's turn. On my next turn, I do have the Celestial draw, plus I have a way to search for my combo starter card, and I have a way to go into my Omni Negate. I drew into a Griffin. That means I just need to search for the Enchantress, go into right, I will have an Omni on the field as is. Pretty lucky draw now. So right here, I activate the Adventure, search for the Enchantress. I'll go for my search for the right by banishing the Enchantress, and once my token comes on the field, I will put the Griffin Rider on the field. That way I will have one Omni on the field as well. Now right here I was trying to go for the lethal anyways. I'm pretty sure my opponent realized once I normaled out my drop C's he's dead either way, and he just outright scoops. I would have killed my opponent either way as well. That's going to be the end of the game, guys. If you guys do like this kind of videos, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel for more daily pranking video uploads, and if you guys are interested in the live version of all of this, I do live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/jpvduel. Link along with my schedule is going to be in the video description itself for you guys to check out. This is JPVDuel signing off for today. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!